Welcome back to Finnerty. In February, a small bipartisan group of senators negotiated a border bill that never made it beyond the Senate. The bill was flawed from the very start, doing very little to actually shut the border down. Many Republicans viewed the bill as blatantly political, meant to help Joe Biden look like he was getting control of an issue that would have hurt him in November. Despite all of that, many supported the idea of a border bill, including the Border Patrol Council and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Fast forward 7 months, border czar Kamala Harris is suddenly running for president. And every time she's asked about the crisis at the border, this bill from last spring comes up again and again.
The United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. Donald Trump got word that this bill was afoot and could be passed, so he told his buddies in Congress, kill the bill. He told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. Donald Trump got word of the bill, realized it was going to fix a problem he wanted to run on, and told him to kill the bill.
All right, so as you heard, Kamala continues to blame Donald Trump for killing the bill, where in reality, Joe Biden could have at any time secured the southern border over the last 4 years with the stroke of a pen through executive action. But the administration did the exact opposite. In their first week in office, Biden-Harris repealed 94 executive orders ostensibly opening the floodgates at the southern border. As for the bill, it was widely rejected because it would have allowed 5,000 illegals to cross into the country every day, increase green cards by 50,000 a year, and it did nothing to address the 10 million people that have come here since Joe and Kamala took over. Plus, many of the policies in the bill wouldn't take effect until 2027, a year before the 2028 presidential election. Joining us now, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, who was the lead Republican negotiator on this bill. Senator, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
So I thought the debate about this bill, Senator, was over. And now every time Kamala is asked about the border, she mentions this bill and she mentions your name. I'm wondering, did Donald Trump ever call you directly as the lead Republican negotiator and ask you to kill this bill?
No, he never did. We didn't have any conversation. I would only tell you that when an arsonist tells you they have a solution to fires, you should probably doubt the opinion of the arsonist. The reason we had to have a bill at all on immigration was because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had opened the border wide open. We were at a time, you remember, October, November, December were the highest number of crossings in the history of the country, including the highest single day of illegal crossings in December. That's where we were. We were trying to get them to do their job. And the bill didn't solve everything. By the way, I disagree with some of the things that you listed there. They said it did. That it certainly did not do. It didn't solve everything. It didn't deal with the 10 million people illegally here, but it would have forced an administration to do their job. And that was the key focus of it, was how can we get them to start doing what they should have done all along?
Why haven't you come out more vocally then over the last month and said that the vice president is just flat out lying? Donald Trump never called me directly and told me to kill anything. Why haven't we heard that from you?
So I've posted it online. I've made public statements. I've been in multiple interviews. I don't know how more I could actually say. In fact, I was actually at the border earlier this week. I continue to be able to work on this issue because it's a continuing problem that's there. So I've continued to be able to focus this on. In fact, even during the vice presidential debate, when it came out, and Tim Walz strangely brought up my name and said this super conservative that worked on this bill, I posted immediately, even that night, to say, hey, I'm very clear who I'm voting for. The only person that would actually close the border is Donald Trump, and made that statement even during the vice presidential debate. So I don't know how I could have been clear on this. The challenge has been, I understand there's people that wanted more in the bill. I'm trying to work with a Democrat Senate and a Democrat White House that wanted to leave the border open. And I was pushing to say, is there some way we can make the bleeding stop?
Well, let me just ask you about that, Senator. And I know you're one of the most liked guys in the Senate on both sides of the aisle. And I know that you spent a lot of time in this bill. You were emotional when we talked about it last winter. But how's a bill that's still going to let 5,000 illegals cross the border every single day a good bill? Were you more in the camp at that time? And now you have hindsight, which is always 20/20. But were you more in the camp at that time that, hey, maybe 50% of a bad bill is better than no bill at all, especially if Donald Trump doesn't win in November?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that is the most misunderstood part of the entire bill. I absolutely would not support a bill that let 5,000 people in illegally a day. That's been a false rumor from literally before the bill was ever put out. Here's what the bill actually did. We took all the instructions at the end asylum that are typically done where you find out you don't qualify, we move those to the beginning. So the first person that crossed every single day would be arrested. We had a brand new screening process that was faster, and they would be deported. The very first person every day is arrested, quickly screened, and deported. But if we got to 5,000 people a day and the cartels are overwhelming the system, then you're arrested and deported. There is no screening. So the 5,000 was the break glass moment. Interestingly enough, it's what the administration fought the most against, because they said that's not right. No one gets screened. There's no possibility for anyone to get in. And I said, that's right. Right now, if we get 5,000 in, they let everyone in. This changed the paradigm to say if you get 5,000 in, everyone gets turned around.
Yeah,
so first person's arrested, deported, 5,000 first, no one gets any chance to get in.
And I know that you would look forward to working on a better bill if Donald Trump wins in November. But I always come back to Title 42, remain in Mexico, catch and release, executive action. Joe Biden undid those. With the stroke of his pen, he could have solved this problem. But they've done this deliberately. Senator, you represent Oklahoma. An Afghan national accused of plotting a terrorist attack was just arrested in your state of Oklahoma. The suspect, apparently 27 years old, came here through a special immigrant visa in 2021, essentially came here illegally. Kamala fully supported that. And he was accused of plotting to kill Americans with a rifle on behalf of ISIS. Can the American people expect more of this?
They can. This is why it's so incredibly important. This is one of the many reasons I work so much on the border security issues, because we don't know who's coming across the border at any point. The Biden administration is literally letting folks in. When I was there earlier this week, we had Russians coming across the border that they literally just checked them in and said, Russia has given us no criminal records about you, so you must be okay, and let them come into the border. In fact, gave them a work permit, which, by the way, is one of the things my bill would have stopped that would have ended on that day. But yeah, we've got to be able to actually enforce our border and enforce the immigration policies. These two individuals, and it was two individuals that were picked up in my state that were arrested for partnering with ISIS and planning to be able to carry out a major attack. They'd already bought rifles, they'd already bought 500 rounds of ammunition, and they confessed that they were trying to become martyrs on Election Day to murder as many Americans as possible.
So
there are folks around the world that hate our freedom, and they're going to continue to be able to speak out and act out to be able to attack us. We need to be vigilant to be able to push back, not only protect our borders, but also to be able to stop any threats that are coming in.
Senator James Lankford, we appreciate you being with us. Good to see you again. Thank you.
You bet. Good to see you as well.
All right. Lots more Finnerty after the break. Stay with us.